Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. Used as a residence for the mentally ill as far back as the mid-1800s, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is open from March through November for tours, truly capitalizing on Halloween's energy. The hospital earned National Historic Landmark status in 1990 but closed down in 1994, and rumored ghosts have haunted the premises ever since. Yes, I've heard a lot about this place. Apparently it is incredibly haunted. When it was a hospital for the mentally ill, I think a lot of people were tortured in there. The treatment wasn't great, and I think a lot of people died there in horrible ways. And obviously early days of mental illness, when they were doing experiments, wasn't the nicest. I mean, people literally got lobotomized. Can you imagine getting a lobotomy? Like, someone just takes a thing to your eye to disconnect your brain. You can't think. You're a vegetable. You can't do anything. You're just numb. Screw that. Or like electric shock therapy. Like, it's all baffling to me. Baffling. Nagoro, Japan. Is a small town. Japan is quaint, but this eerie village in the Iya Valley has just 30 residents and over 400 large dolls. Local resident Tsukimi Ayonu creates them in memory of the deceased, and they bear a striking resemblance to their deceased human counterparts, wearing their clothes and all, which adds to the creepy factor as they silently stare at you from all angles as you move about the town. They are not clustered in one spot, rather they are perched, fishing on the riverbank, sitting at desks in local schools or waiting for the bus. There was a reason as to why the town was dead. Not everyone died. A lot of them moved away for some reason. Everyone just kind of left, and this one woman stayed, and then she just created these dolls, life-size dolls of her former residents and neighbors, and just scattered them around the town. It's like, why? Like, maybe you go too? Maybe everyone just moves? Like, there's got to be a reason that people have left. I know this town attracts tourists now because of the dolls, but it's getting a bit creepy. Like, go and make some other friends in the world, yeah? Not just the dolls? Mansfield Reformatory, Ohio. Legend says that it's haunted, a convincing notion as plenty of inmates died during their sentences and they just might still be roaming the halls here. It's no longer in operation, it closed in 1990, but you can go on a guided or self-guided tour between Thursdays and Sundays throughout the year if you dare. For a deeper thrill, book a public ghost hunt or escape from Blood Prison, a haunted house meets escape room. A haunted house meets escape room. Future Lucy, remember to write this down so I can go. I'm going to Ohio immediately, which are words I never thought I would say in my life, because why does anyone want to go to Ohio? I can't say it. I don't think anyone wants to go to Ohio. I think people want to leave Ohio, but I'm going so I can go to this. Anyway, this is creepy. There's something about like old reformatories, prisons, or like mental asylums. They're just all haunted because the treatment of inmates back in the day was not the most ideal. I mean, I'm sure now it's not the most ideal. Who knows what's going on in there? Pripyat, Ukraine. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster of 1986 made this city of about 50,000 inhabitants completely empty. For many, it is a symbol of distrust of the government. Time stopped in this place because all the clocks were left without operation due to the force of the tragedy. Yeah, this one is absolutely terrifying, and most people know the story now because they made the TV show Chernobyl, which was amazing. But yeah, a nuclear disaster happened, radiation just hit this town like a bombshell, but I think it took too long for people to get evacuated because so many people got radiation poisoning and died from this event. The town is now left completely abandoned. People can visit, but I think there's a time limit on how long you can spend there. I think it's like up to 2 hours. But there are like many people speculate something else was going on. That was a government experiment. That maybe where are the people? Like, I'm just basing that off the movie. Dolls Island, Mexico. This island has a very peculiar history that makes it one of the creepiest abandoned places you can visit. Julian Santana Barrera lived in isolation as a hermit. Legend has it that at some point he saw a girl drowning in the river, so he began to hang dolls on the island to avoid the spirits. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Someone died in the river, apparently, and to appease the spirit of the girl, he would hang dolls around so she was happy and that she would not torment him. And now I think more people come and hang dolls. It's just a place filled with dolls. And honestly, I don't want to go because there's something inherently creepy about dolls. I don't know what it is. It's a lifeless they just look lifeless. They look scary. I think Annabelle's also ruined dolls for everyone, but there's something about dolls. Too creepy. La Recoleta Cemetery, Buenos Aires, Argentina. This Buenos Aires resting place is seriously haunted. Even the city's tourism website endorses the neo-Gothic cemetery's status. Stroll among the 6,400 statues, coffins, mausoleums, and gravestones, and you might hear keys jangling. That is probably the late gravedigger David Eleno, who reportedly took his own life after 3 decades on the job, and the day the statue of himself that he commissioned was complete. Damn, I mean, if that was my job, I wouldn't want to be around it either. Look at that. Look how packed it is. That place has got to be haunted. The amount of dead bodies in there? Not a chance. I don't even want to visit. I'm okay not visiting. I would kind of like a mausoleum for myself, though, when I'm gone. But at the same time, I don't. Like, I don't leave my body. Like, I just want to be dust. I want to be like after the Thanos snap. I just want to drift away. But I want a mausoleum and I want a statue of myself, and everyone can come visit me and just, like, give me gifts. Because I want to kind of linger. Anyway, this isn't about me. Akodesua Fetish Market, Togo. Located in the capital city of Lomé, the Akodesua is the world's largest voodoo market, and not for the faint of heart. Imagine strolling the stalls and coming face to face with a human skull or an animal head. Benin's folks, Benin is said to be the birthplace of voodoo religion, not New Orleans or Haiti, run the market and believe that in order to heal or rid yourself of a curse, talismans can hook you up with the right medicine. Okay, this market's just baffling to me. It's a place, it's a voodoo market. There's skulls. There's lots of skulls. Do you buy them? It's to do with voodoo. I'm not entirely sure how this works or my understanding of it. Every culture and religion have different things. Is the skull is a talisman? I'm very baffled. I don't know what I would do with the skull. An animal skull? Like, what'd you do? You hold it? I don't know what you're doing with this stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm okay not going there. I'll just skip it. Chapel of the Bones, Portugal. The Bone Chapel in Portugal receives its name because the remains of more than 5,000 monks rest on its walls. As if that were not enough to make it more frightening, 2 bodies hang from the ceiling tied with ropes. Oh my god. I mean, that seems entirely unnecessary. Look how many bones. It reminds me of the Paris catacombs. It's the exact same thing. They ran out of room to bury the bodies, so they just put them down there and people can do tours. It's just bones, human skeletons everywhere. That just seems very unpleasant to me, and it bet it smells. That's all I'm saying. That's a smell you'll remember for life. And I don't want that in my life. Oshima Island, Japan. At some point, this was the most densely populated island on Earth. 5,000 workers lived on this tiny island, a mining facility. The cement buildings today crumble as they have been abandoned since 1974. That whole thing was supposed to be the most densely populated? Oh, do you mean for, like, the amount of land versus the amount of people? Maybe that's what it means. Because I think the most densely populated island would be Great Britain. That place is gonna sink. Anyway, the facility shut down, I think, so everyone left, and now it's just an abandoned island. Nothing going on there. That's creepy. That'd be a cool place to visit, though. I'd visit there. As long as there's no spirits. I don't want to see them. Belchite, Spain. Belchite is one of those memories that remain of the bloody wars. In this case, they're the ruins of this town, destroyed during the Spanish Civil War. Many myths have formed around this town that is a tourist destination for the curious in Aragon, Spain. Huh? Such a vague description. I mean, I would go. This seems very cool. Like, look at the crumbling structure. Like, that looks fun. I would go there. Doesn't seem too bad. I mean, if it's the ruins of a war, then maybe there's some spirits lingering. But I'd go here. Seemed pretty pleasant. It also seems like very pretty. I've been to Spain once. It was alright. Like, 5 out of 10 trip.
What the I don't understand Was that their friend? Or was that a ghost? Was it both? Are they friends with the ghost? Was that? I don't even know if that was worthy. Like, I feel like I was like getting cocky. I was like, oh man, look, I'm not getting scared.
I'm getting scared today.
Thiếu. Ra luôn. Check, ça a bougé. Ça a bougé. Ça a bougé, recule. Hop.
What? What? That was a forest! That doesn't count. That doesn't count as an abandoned building. And I didn't even see anything spooky. I wish I knew what they were saying though, because I bet there was something spooky, but I didn't understand what was going on. Oh no. This looks like, oh my god. Oh my god. No. No. No! What the f is going on? Stop! Move! Don't keep going in! Get out! Leave! What are you doing? That's like, oh, you know that scene from the Tower of Terror, the Disney movie? Love the ride. Absolute. Oh my god. Wow, just like spat out my whole life there. You know that movie? That's what that was. Because immediately somebody was gonna show up headless with the knife and be like, woo. Oh, Jesus. Excuse me, jump scare?
Oh. Basement right off bat. I'm gonna just fall back a little bit.
Okay.
Until Dan gets in here, maybe.
Agave? Is it blue agave? Take that! Agave is expensive and it's a very good sugar. It's a good sugar alternative to your regular glucose fructose. Wow. I actually wouldn't regret going in there if that's what I found. I'd be like, oh sweet, agave, pocket that.
Crosses.
It's an upside down
Oh
cross.
my god.
Hey, St. Peter.
Only he can't save. Can't save.
Okay.
Only he can save.
Okay.
This is insane. We can't be here that long.
Oh, Jesus.
We're getting back to some dangerous 666 devil. Upside down cross.
Wow. Yeah, don't go in there because obviously Satan. We know he's not a nice guy. Actually, I feel like his followers are even worse. Ooh, it looks so cool, but it also looks like a dang hazard. Look at all those things that could fall on top of your head. You shouldn't enter that, not because it's haunted, though it clearly is, because how could, like, it just looks that way. Like, it could be asbestos, could be falling bricks, who knows? Ooh, Nike. I love this stuff.
Something like that, Chainsaw Massacre.
Mate, what? What the hell?
What the?
Excuse my language, people. Guys, there's a whole floor of bones. Are you? What is that, mate?
I don't know, I can't tell. I don't look like there's any skulls.
The problem with bones is that, especially if they're like broken up, you can see like a spine and like a hip bone, but it could belong to like, I don't know, a deer or something, and you just don't see the head yet because that's where the animals drag their food because it's safe. But what if that's actually a human being? I really want to know what, if anybody knows what that video is, let me know in the comments because I really want to know the end story to that. 'Cause like, did they actually find human bones? Because that's spicy. Shake it. Oh, Jesus wept. Oh, no. Oh my goodness. Oh man, was that just like a scary art film? Come on. Nothing's scarier than an art film. I gotta be honest. Literally, you'll spend like 3 minutes looking at a skateboard going through different graphics and you're like, I can't get those 3 minutes back, and that's terrifying.
No, does that look like I'm winding you up?
In hell is all that about? Mate, what is that? Huh? What is this about? Oh, it stinks. Oh, it stinks, Mark. Do you not even stink?
I haven't got in it yet.
Guys, what is this? Guys, I promise you, we've just turned up. This room was like this when we've just literally arrived.
That's gross. That's so gross. I don't know. But again, it's kind of like a good thing. If they do end up being human bones, then they discovered something, which they should call the police about. Oh, the music already. Was that a lady on a branch, or was that just like a plastic bag that got caught in a tree? Sometimes they look like ghosts. We're disgusting. We litter all the time. You know? Sometimes you're like, oh look, a plastic bag. I needed one of those. Too bad it's all the way up in the tree.
What? I don't see it.
Later, many said that precisely at that moment, a patient who had arrived urgently at the scene died in the middle of resuscitation protocols by medical personnel. While his family was devastated, their grief could have caused that brief manifestation of a strange black figure.
Bro, that is death himself being like, yes, another one, come to me. And then that's why it died. That is literally death himself. Also took me a while to figure out like what that was. It literally just looked like a grandma with like a shawl hunched over. Yeah, wow, that's creepy. I think the music gets me the most. I'm like, God, stop it. It's spooky in my ear. Bro, why are they laughing? Why are they laughing at that? I'd be like, hell no, and then run out of there. Like literally there's like a demon moving that chair around and they're like, oh ha ha ha, typical Saturday morning. No, either that or like there's a patient underneath the bed just whipping the chair around for fun. What was that? What the hell? Bro, that demon is angry. I don't know what's going on here,
I want to say that this one is fake. Like, I feel like there's someone pulling strings. Actually, I don't know how they would rip that poster off the wall. Something could have been attached to it and they go, you know, they're just trying to like spook people like me. You didn't get me. Now, if that was real, maybe the patient was just like pissed off. I was just like, give me back my file. It's like opening up the file, trying to, you know, read what they wrote about him.
This video was sent to me because there was no one inside this ambulance. However, a movement inside made the employees think the opposite.
Bro, I've never seen an ambulance like that with such a small place to put a person. Is there enough room for somebody to lay down if they're picking up someone? Looks like they're gonna have to be standing, it's so small. Where is this? I don't know. Now for the ghost. Honestly, a lot of people die in ambulances, so it doesn't surprise me if they're haunted. Like, I've read numerous stories about ambulance drivers being like, oh, my car is haunted or whatever, my ambulance is haunted, and they hear like the oxygen mask thing, like the someone breathing in the back on their night shifts. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. So it doesn't shock me if this ambulance is actually haunted. I have no clue what that was, but like, since it is filmed at night, what if it was just like a patient jumping from one bed to another? Doesn't it kind of look like that? He was just like, whee, and jumped from one bed to another, and since it's at night, he looks like a little ghost? I don't know. Either that or it's like an alien or something. Or it's someone's soul leaving their body, but it looked like it was having fun. It was like, whee, and it like jumped. I didn't think it was malicious, okay? It's all good. It was only good energy.
The footage shows a skeletal man in a white dressing gown,
Chills.
sitting and rocking slightly on a hospital bed. The room is dark and sparse, and the bed is narrow and doesn't look comfortable at all, which is perhaps why this patient is up all night, rocking back and forth. You can see the patient curled up in the fetal position on the bed, then huddled over, then standing. He then starts pushing the bed by the railing. After that, he appears as though he's removed his hospital gown, and he is seen leaning off screen.
Little naked man. Little naked man. They didn't leave in the good part. The good part is that all of a sudden he starts like levitating. I'm not making this up, okay? Like Dua Lipa levitating up in here. Like straight up, he just starts levitating in the air. Yeah, that was like at a Russian hospital. I've seen this clip before. It creeps me out. I feel like they were like testing drugs on him, and that's why he was like going crazy, and all of a sudden he starts like levitating. It's because he's on some sort of drugs. Who knows what's going on over there, honestly.
One brave individual saw capturing the passed away doctor on video as a challenge. The footage was taken in the Honduras school hospital Universitario. The doctor in question is said to have taken his own life at this very hospital and remains there. Stalking up and down the place at night and flicking the lights on and off in patient rooms, as you can see in the video, a shadowy ghostly figure floats in the empty, poorly lit hallway from behind a door. The hallway is full of stretchers.
Am I dumb? Am I blind? Did anyone else see this ghost? Because I didn't. I certainly didn't. I was looking for a shadow. I was looking for anything. I saw no movement whatsoever. So I don't know. What's scary is Chill's voice up in here. Can't take it. Past the stretchers in the hallway. Yeah.
Abandoned State Mental Hospital appears quite eerie in the footage. Darkened windows on a hot summer day. The footage involves lots of close-ups and long shots of the area, including some gags with the cast. Everyone seems to be having a good time on the shoot, but will what happened next haunt them? During the shoot of one scene, the vapor-thin figure of a ghost appears to be walking across the hallway right before two of the cast.
Oh! Why did they run towards it? Why did they? I don't think they saw it. I think they captured it and then they saw it when they were like rewatching the footage, you know? They didn't see it in person or else they would have run that way. Also, did they say they were shooting something? Was this like Grave Encounters or something? It's one of the only movies that I know that takes place in a hospital that's like, you know, haunted and then they get stuck in it. Anyways, I've always wanted to like go explore an abandoned haunted something, but also I'm like too scared. So if you guys get this too, how many likes? 500? 1K? I think they'll do 500, so I'll do. If you get this to 1,000 thumbs up, then I will go exploring a haunted, abandoned something here in Canada. Smash it right now, do it. Oh!
The woman is seen lying flat in a bed, speaking in a raspy, evil voice. She is harassing the couple, calling them tacky and ugly, and telling them they're all going to die.
That's all the context I get here? Yeah, this woman seems possessed. Hella possessed. She's just like, ah. Or, you know, she's just mean. And she's just like, you're tacky. Christmas sweater, ugly. Sorry, a little raspy, I smoked too much today.
Gwanyam Psychiatric Hospital. The abandoned hospital whose elaborate ghost stories cover up the dirty truth, an uneventful sanitation issue, and other mundane reasons for its demise. The Gwanyam Psychiatric Hospital has been called one of the most haunted places in South Korea, and CNN has claimed it was one of the freakiest places in the world, but the truth of this place isn't the supernatural hotbed that makes for good media fodder. The hospital was closed in the 1990s and abandoned for more mundane reasons than their tall tales would have you believe. Gwanyam was forced to close mainly due to economic downturns, unsanitary conditions, and problems with the sewage disposal system, not due to insane doctors or murderous patients. As the sewage problem grew, the owner left the country and did not leave documentation behind about the land or the buildings on it. Man, sounds like it was a pretty situation. Severals Hospital, England. Reports suggest that this psychiatric hospital in England tortured patients. It is said that people who were given treatments at Severals weren't mentally ill at all. Many women and teenagers were allegedly given treatments against their will. During World War II, many patients lost their lives and died due to German bombings. Visitors claim that they have been pushed by an unknown entity on several occasions, while others have complained about an eerie sensation like they are being watched by unseen eyes. No one dares to come close to this abandoned building anymore. This freaks me out because the idea of being put into an asylum when you're not actually insane is so trippy, because you have to prove that somebody is insane. But if they don't think they're insane, like for instance, I'm not insane, but somebody hearing that, and I don't know, I flail a lot, could be like, no, she is insane. People who are insane don't know they're insane. And it's like this weird back and forth of hypocrisy and ridiculousness. Also, if you were a hysterical woman, you'd be put into these places, so I guess you would have found me there. Denver Lunatic Asylum, Massachusetts. This mental asylum was opened in 1878 for mentally unfit criminals, but due to the shortage of staff and increase in patients, deaths would go unnoticed for days. Someone's death here was usually discovered when their bodies started to. That's awful. Locals believe that this asylum is now home to a number of ghosts and witches. Where'd they come from? Who've been trapped. I guess the witches just showed up because people thought they were insane and put them in here, but all this time they actually put a hex on you or something like that, so that's awful. But you know what? Put hexes on them. They were probably really mean. Beechworth Lunatic Asylum, Australia. This asylum in Australia was apparently home to some of Australia's most unstable, violent, and tortured criminals. It was known for its abusive staff members and a number of very mysterious disappearances that were surreptitiously brushed under the rug. According to rumors, lethal experiments were conducted by doctors on these patients and over 3,000 people died here. Local residents claim to hear sounds of playing around in the area and seeing ghostly apparitions floating around in the corridors. What were doing there? Good God. I'm sure there's some good done in psychiatric hospitals, but like, really doesn't seem like there's been a good past for them, has there? Really? Lobotomies? Who thought of that? Disgusting. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Louisville, Kentucky. An epidemic of tuberculosis was overtaxing medical facilities in Kentucky when the State Board of Tuberculosis Hospital decided to add on to the 40 to 50 bed sanatorium and it opened in 1910. Patients at Waverly could expect treatments that varied from balloons implanted into their lungs to the removal of ribs and chest muscles to allow for lung expansion. Balloons? Nowadays, the tunnel area is where the ghosts hang out, according to visitors to what is now a tourist attraction. They have also reported seeing the ghosts of a nurse in room 502. Balloons? I don't know how I feel about that. They were probably more scientific balloons, you know, like made for that maybe, but that's still what I've got in my mind is just like balloons. Ridiculous. Imagine they filled them with helium. Eloise Complex, Westland, Michigan. What started out as a poorhouse and farm in 1839 gradually expanded to a psychiatric hospital, a tuberculosis sanatorium, and a county hospital. Eloise was a virtual city unto itself, consisting of 76 buildings on a 900-acre property and housing about 10,000 people who were homeless, mentally ill, or in hospital care, along with 2,000 staff members. It also had many of its own support services, including a fire station, power plant, and cemetery, with numbers on the stones instead of names? That's sad. Modern day visitors have said they've encountered mysterious moans, screams, and a spectral woman in white in an asylum. An intrepid TV reporter who explored the facility returned with shots of glowing lights floating around her and the camera crew. I always love how there's like a glowing white woman. Like, it's not a ghost story unless there's a glowing white woman in it. Like a white dressed woman. Why does the afterlife have such a limited choice when it comes to dead people clothes? It's a dumb joke. It's a fucking dumb joke. It's fine. Rolling Hills Asylum, Bethany, New York? When they put like the letters next to them, like, it could be anything. The Rolling Hills Asylum opened in 1827 as the Genesee County Poorhouse. According to an official newspaper and announcement at the time, the place was open to habitual drunkards, lunatics, or a vagrant. A vagrant, not many. Regardless of their reasons for being there, all residents were referred to as inmates. Perhaps that is what the ghosts are so ticked off about. Oh yeah, I'm not an inmate, I'm a vagrant. The facility was also known to perform lobotomies and electric shock therapy, which is so terrible, by the way. Some people still perform it, which is insane. These days, one of the most frequently seen ghosts is Roy. Oi Roy! What's up, Roy? Who died in 1942, rumored to have been 7 feet tall in life. Damn. Roy reportedly spends his afterlife as an equally tall shadow, crying. Roy? Oh, I just want to give Roy a hug. With a name like Roy, you just know he's a good guy. Just, you can't be a mean guy if you're named Roy. Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane, Ovid, New York. Many of the patients admitted to the now abandoned Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane, New York died there and were buried in graves marked not with names but by numbers. What the heck is with asylums for being such dicks? This abandoned asylum, which opened in the last quarter of the 1800s, was set up to provide better treatment for those who were unable to care for themselves. Rather than being locked away in squalid conditions in an almshouse, this facility promised better care for those who could not fit into everyday society. Like all asylums, significant budget cuts led to overcrowding or deplorable treatment of patients. Then, after an expose in the 1970s by Geraldo Riviera, the wheels were set in motion to start the closing of this and all other facilities. Good freaking riddance. Would I have been put into an asylum? I don't know. Do I cause enough trouble? No, I'm pretty good. Belitz Heist Hospital, Berlin. I probably said that wrong. I welcome corrections, so you know what to do. Belitz Heist Hospital in Berlin has had a horrifying past, as it was originally built as a tuberculosis sanatorium to treat during World War II. This is the same hospital where young recovered after being wounded in World War I. Half the section of the hospital still remains operational as a neurological rehabilitation center and as a center for research and care for victims of Parkinson's disease. The rest of the complex was abandoned in 1994. Local residents believe that this building is haunted by the spirits of those who died here. Most likely. Once again, most likely. If there are a lot of people died there, it's probably haunted. Old Changi Hospital, Singapore. Built in 1935, Old Changi Hospital was initially used as a Royal Air Force hospital, but during World War II, it was converted into a Japanese prison camp where people used to be tortured for being anti-Japanese. Many people have complained about spotting apparitions of bloody Japanese soldiers and children wandering the empty corridors at night. Visitors have also complained about hearing disembodied voices and seeing shadows flitting from corners of the room. Some also claim to be pushed by unseen hands. Creepy. Again, terrifying. Don't want to go there. Don't bother. It's not gonna be fun for you. But if you do go, commit. If you hear a sound, go check it out. Just saying. We're gonna go, do it. Go big or go home. Okay?
Area 51, Nevada. The US government wouldn't admit Area 51 existed until 1992 documents released in 2013 mentioned the Nevada military base. Officials still haven't revealed what type of research goes on, though conspiracy theorists claim alien activity is studied there. You can get a bird's eye view of the spot on Google Maps, but the sprawling desert makes it hard for anyone to sneak in and security is tight. Even visitors with security clearances reach Area 51 on private planes that keep the windows down until landing. This is only one of many ways that Area 51 stays so secretive. Yeah, like what is it? Area 51, aliens. I'm very curious because I know that like all sorts of movies like have made allusions to it. People have made jokes about it. They're saying aliens are there. Aliens are a big topic recently. You gotta wonder what's going on, right? I personally love Area 51. It's a great color for a Ford, you know? Look it up. It's like a nice like gray blue. It's beautiful. Anybody want to contribute to my new Ford Maverick, Get Keegan a Ford Maverick fund? Let me know. Tomb of the Qin Shi Huang in China. Farmers discovered the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in 1974, and archaeologists have since found about 2,000 clay soldiers and expect there are another 8,000 still uncovered. Despite the excavation, the Chinese government has forbidden archaeologists from touching the central tomb with Qin Shi Huang's body, which has been closed since 210 BCE. The decision is partly to respect the dead, but also from fear that current technology isn't up to snuff for excavating without damaging the ancient artifacts. The whole thing is reminiscent of the mysterious chamber scientists recently found in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Yeah, that is a lot of clay warriors to be guarding your tomb. Right? And the fact that they've lasted so long and they're just like, they're so numerous. There was no mass production technology back then. These had to be made by hand, most likely. That's absolutely insane, the amount of work that went into this for the first Chinese emperor. You gotta wonder if they'd ever come to life. Oh boy. Oh yeah, that rain is really coming down. Ah! Palm Islands in Dubai are 3 artificial islands built on the coast of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. The 3 islands, Palm Jumeirah, Dera Islands, and Palm Jebel Ali, are some of the most ambitious engineering projects ever initiated. Of the 3, only Palm Jumeirah has been actually completed, and as the name suggests, takes the form of a large palm tree topped with a crescent. Each island was planned to have residential, leisure, and entertainment centers erected on them, and they will add over 500 kilometers of non-public beaches to the city of Dubai once finished. Wow. I don't know if I'd call that scary. Just like, it sounds kind of nice. Like, I mean, it's scary that like Dubai like has like the power to do that and like bend nature to their will, I guess. But other than that, it just sounds like an insane feat of human engineering and maybe smacks of like wastefulness a little bit, you know, to create new islands because you felt like it. I guess that's adding more beaches, but boy, it's a lot of work, I would say. A lot of materials. Antarctica. I mean, Antarctica is a continent that's mostly uninhabited and filled with unexplored areas. Most scientists and researchers who spend time in Antarctica inhabit areas around research stations because the extreme landscape is largely unlivable. Photos taken by NASA equipment capture the uninhabited areas of Antarctica and the Arctic region. Boom. The thing. That's what you get in Antarctica. Is it Antarctic or Arctic? Actually, I wonder. Where's the thing? Antarctic. It's right there. That's right, boys. Let's go. And girls. And theys. Anybody. The thing. But yeah, Antarctic. The climate is not, it's not great for living in. Lots of ice, lots of snow, lots of wind. Not a whole lot of place for things to grow. And obviously, alien creatures that touch down outside of bases and ruin everything for everybody. Be careful. Palmerston Island. Boom. Now this looks like an uninhabited island, unlike those palm leaves. Palmerston Island, described by the BBC as one of the most isolated island communities in the world, is visited by a supply ship twice a year. It's part of the island group known as the Cook Islands, which are connected by a coral reef. Due to its hard-to-access location, it requires a plane trip to Tahiti, then a boat from Tahiti to the island. Palmerston is rarely visited by outsiders and is the only island in the group that is known to be inhabited. The Cook Islands are also connected by a coral reef that is difficult for many boats to see, which has made for shipwrecks over the years, according to the BBC. Yeah, that would be freaky to be a resident there once you were exposed to the outside world. Do people choose to go there? Like they say, hey, I want to be disconnected from all this nonsense, and they show up there, or are they born there and that's just where they are? They're visited a couple times a year by the outsiders to be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Okay, see you later. I don't know. Either way, like I feel like things go very, very well or very, very poorly. Because when you're so isolated, like if something goes wrong, what do? Right? Located in Bhutan near its border with Tibet, the mountain Gangkar Puensum is known as the world's tallest unclimbed mountain, according to the BBC and Condé Nast Traveler. Gangkar Puensum stands at 24,981 feet above the ground, according to the BBC. It's believed to have never been conquered, but in 1994, prospective climbers were barred from ever attempting to reach the top of the mountain as the government closed it to climbers. BBC reported that all peaks in Bhutan that were higher than 19,800 feet were closed that same year out of respect for local spiritual beliefs. Fair enough. You know, if people are being prevented from climbing it, it's going to be a while till somebody actually climbs it. I'm sure someday, in the distant future, those regulations will relax, but until then, we can dream about it. I thought it was going to be one of those ones where it's like people were trying to climb it and just like dying. Like there was like a Yeti, an abominable snowman up there. There was some sort of evil force, like SCP-style corpse mountain just waiting to consume people. But nope, they're just like, hey, we're going to shut this down for a bit. Sorry, folks. I understand. It's like when the ice cream machine doesn't work at McDonald's. You gotta say, understandable. Have a nice day. Son Cave. Okay, we got a little tent community in here. It looks like a lovely little lake. I'd go for a swim. Son Doong Cave in Vietnam's Nha Bang National Park dates back to prehistoric times and was only rediscovered in 2008. According to CNN Travel, the cave was first discovered in 1990, but its original location was lost and not found again until 2008 by two researchers from the British Caving Research Association. Son Doong Cave is known as the world's largest natural cave, as it's believed to have been formed 3 million years ago. In 2013, it was opened to the public for the first time. Yeah, no, that's an enormous cave. I would love to just like imagine the immensity of it. Like you can see it in the picture and be like, yes, that is big, but like imagine standing down beside one of those tents and looking up at this enormous naturally formed cave above you. I've only been to like caves in Peterborough, you know, like or near Peterborough, whatever they're called, and those are like little, like, you know, you can walk through them, you can spelunk a little bit, but you're always like close quarters in there. This is like you could fit like a city in here. You have a cave city protected against like dragons in ancient times. Holy moly. Surtsey. Surtsey, a volcanic island off Iceland, has only ever been open to researchers. The island of Surtsey, located off the southern coast of Iceland, was formed from volcanic eruptions that occurred between 1963 and 1967, according to UNESCO. Surtsey has only ever been open to highly trained scientists, according to Atlas Obscura. UNESCO also described the island as being free from human interference. Right? I think they just don't want people there to interfere with the natural development of this island. I think the longer we keep human paws off of it, the better, right? Imagine just like this brand new island that hasn't even really had time to like have like a biome, you know, solidified upon it. There's no environmental niches or anything. Niches? Can't remember how my science teacher used to say it, but Imagine if you would, they just opened it up to human interference, and then all of a sudden we've got like developers coming in and building freaking condos and hotels there. Despicable. That's classic human behavior right there. Let's let the island be, see what happens, see if any crazy development goes down without human interaction. I wonder if there's gonna be like some like new things evolving. Southern Namib. The Southern Namib part of the Namib Desert is one of the driest places on Earth and is largely unexplored. Is that it? That feels kind of like a dry explanation of one of the driest places on Earth. But I suppose, similar to Antarctica, you wouldn't want to be hanging out there without a purpose. If you had like a research base, if you had somewhere to like stay and but just to like hang out here, just to walk around, you die. You just turn into a freaking mummified corpse right away. Air would just suck all the moisture right out of you. Pitcairn Island. Oh, it looks nice. I want to go to Pitcairn Island. It requires a hefty 32-hour yacht ride to get to the remote island of Pitcairn from Auckland, New Zealand, and apparently no plane or helicopter has ever landed there. The island is known as a British Overseas Territory, and its government is situated in New Zealand. It's considered to be one of the least populated territories in the world, with about 50 residents in 2018. A photographer who has visited the island previously told Insider that when Pitcairn's inhabitants need medical attention, they must go to New Zealand or Fiji, and are sometimes unable to return to Pitcairn for weeks or even months. Yeah, that is isolated. Yeah, that's 32 hours and no planes, no nothing, no helicopter. That's wild. That's a lot to get onto that island. I bet you they feel so much cooler than the rest of the world. It's very exclusive, It's their Pitcairn club. They do what they do and nobody else can. Hell yeah, Pitcairn. I bet you there's some creepy rituals that go on after dark. Everyone who lives there is like, all hail the god of Pitcairn. We must sacrifice an outsider. And then I get sacrificed because I'm the outsider. It makes sense. I get it. I understand.
Now, here's something that's quite interesting. The recipe for Coca-Cola is considered one of the best kept secrets in the world, and they keep it secret by stowing it away in a large security vault. Since the recipe was first created in the late 1880s in Atlanta by biochemist John Pemberton, Coca-Cola has jealously guarded it with all they've got. In 2011, the company decided to move the famous Coca-Cola recipe to an Atlanta museum, but while many tourists visit the facilities each year, few and exclusive are the people who can get through the doors of the vault.
Yeah, I bet you Coca-Cola's killed people over their recipe. No doubt. No doubt the multi-billion-dollar, multinational, incredible corporation has spilled blood over their recipe. There is no doubt in my mind. This isn't Plankton versus Mr. Krabs here. This is a bunch of corporate agitators doing their best to ruin another company to make more money, and Coca-Cola firing back with hired guns and assassins in the night. 100%. There is no way that people who see that recipe that are not supposed to see that recipe don't get silenced one way or another.
Room 39 is a secretive building that the North Korean government has committed to securing foreign currency for the nation's leaders. Room 39 was created sometime in the late 70s and is said to be located inside the Workers' Party building in Pyongyang, taking its name, according to some sources, from the office it occupied at the party headquarters in its early days. The organization is estimated to bring in between $500 million to $1 billion per year or more, and may be involved in illegal activities such as counterfeiting $100 bills, producing controlled substances, sales of weapons, and even international insurance fraud.
It's a lot of money for one room. It's a lot of work to stockpile all that money. I just feel like all of North Korea is like a place that people shouldn't go, but go anyways, you know? Know what I'm saying? I feel like there's not a lot of good going on for people that aren't the leaders of North Korea in North Korea. It's a tough gig, I hear. Although, same could be said about America. Or Canada. Or anywhere. Let's be real. The world's a nightmare, guys. Why are we here? I don't doubt that they're, procuring money in ways that they shouldn't be procuring money, whether it's through counterfeiting or the sales of controlled substances, because what else are they going to do? They're just not going to have that big room full of money in case of emergency. They have to be ready for anything. And if they're going to be totally sanctioned against the rest of the world, they're not doing business legitimately. They're not doing things that are necessarily good for trade with other countries. So they've got to be a little bit more sneaky about it, right? A little more covert. Makes sense. Surtsey Island from Iceland. Surtsey is a little island located on an archipelago off the southern coast of Iceland. It was formed as a result of a volcanic eruption that lasted for 4 years. Surtsey also has the reputation of being the newest island on the planet. Currently, it's open to a few scientists and geologists. This forbidden island is off limits for tourists, as it is believed that human interference will disrupt the ecological succession taking place on the island. Yeah, I mean, even putting the scientists there is a little questionable. I guess you'll get some answers about like the origins of islands and like how young islands, tend to kick things off. But be careful, Surtsey Island geologists and scientists. We want to see these ecologies thrive. We want little niches to pop up, little cool stuff to grow there. That'd be neat. Plus, if the volcanic eruption was going for 4 years, who knows when the next little bit of lava is gonna come out of the ground and burn your face off. Be careful.
San Francisco sits a series of islands that are so jagged they have earned the moniker the Devil's Teeth. But this may no longer be a name based only in appearance. Because of the island's potential dangers, humans have been banned from stepping foot on the islands. The waters around the islands are still a popular destination for whale watchers, and because humans can no longer interfere, the Farallones have become the home to one of the largest seabird colonies in the United States. Although you can still catch intrepid skin divers sneaking onto the islands, the government adamantly warns anyone that they do so at their own risk.
I think the scariest part of that island is that huge colony of seagulls. My goodness. You ever seen a big band of seagulls like that? That's horrifying. You have one piece of bread on you and they will tear you limb from limb. Oh, well, what if the seabirds aren't seagulls, but cormorants? Those things stink, bro.
Historians claim that the fort bustled with life and people until its population started dwindling gradually in 1783 when a fierce famine came, ultimately forcing the villagers still living there to flee. Local legends state that the reason for the kingdom falling into ruin after the famine chased its people out was that the fort was cursed. And what do we do when things are said to be cursed?
Fort.
That's right, we leave them alone. The Indian government seems to think so too. The Bungar Fort is the only legally recognized haunted place in all of India, as a government permit is required to gain access to the fort before dawn or after sundown.
Legally recognized, eh? There we go. Get that permit. I guess, yeah, a lot of people during the day, and if you're with a whole bunch of other people, it's not too big of a deal. I wonder how many tourists are here on any given day, and then how many of them see something haunting and are like, guys, look, ghosts, and then everyone runs over and there's nothing there, and I'm sure they did see something, but the ghost is like, I'm tricking you today. Everyone else is gonna think you're crazy. Good luck. That's wild to have a government recognition of hauntedness. I would love that. I would love to go to a place that a government says, hey, you can't come here after dark. Not because, there's we're trying to hide something. Not because low visibility is bad, because it's haunted. Diego Garcia, British Overseas Territories. Located between East Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, Diego Garcia is an important strategic asset for the US Navy, which has a major military base there. It's also said that some of the CIA's most important floating black sites could be located in the area. During the Cold War, the United Kingdoms rented the atoll to the United States for 50 years, but the island was not uninhabited, so before renting it out, the British government expelled some 2,000 Chagosians. Between 1968 and 1973, these inhabitants were forcibly sent to Mauritius, the Seychelles, and other British territories. Since then, the islanders have unsuccessfully demanded the right to return to their homes. Diego Garcia's tenancy expired in 2016, but the UK has extended the contract for another 20 years. Wow, just colonialism in action, eh? Just get out of here, it's ours now. All these colonial nations, bunch of jerks. I know the world looks the way it does now because of them, but is that a good thing? Would we be happier if that weren't the case? North Brother Island in the US of A. Located in New York City, North Brother Island is one of the most popular abandoned places in the USA. Originally developed as a quarantine hospital, it was the home to the Typhoid Mary. She was identified as the first American to carry typhoid fever. Later, this place became a rehabilitation center for drug addicts. Now, North Brother Island has a bird sanctuary and is permanently shut for the common people. I'm a common people. What if I wanted to visit? I'd like to see some birds. I'd like to explore an old medical facility. That's a big thing that people really like doing, is finding an old busted up medical facility somewhere and exploring it with cameras. Just the newest American pastime, you know? There's baseball and then there's urban exploration in old abandoned hospitals. Take your pick. You find a drone down there? What is this? That was neat. I loved that. I want to slide down that on my and then be trapped at the bottom of this hole for all eternity. But I mean, I guess I'll let the drone do it, right? Little less permanent that way. Neat. Oh, I wonder how many dead drones are at the bottom there. How many people have flown down and goofed up and like crashed into the wall, and now it's just piece of busted tech at the bottom of this enormous hole. I wonder how many monsters live down there, let's be real. The Lascaux Cave is a treasure trove for archaeologists around the globe. The cave complex contains prehistoric paintings that are 17,300 years old. The series of Paleolithic paintings that look hauntingly vivid hugs the wall and depicts animals like cattle, stags, bison, and many more. Sadly, the cave is closed to the general public since 1963. Archaeologists believe that human presence might destroy the ancient work of art. I agree, scientists. Humans do tend to ruin things, don't they? They just go anywhere they want, say anything they want, and just goof everything up every single time. But those are some lovely cows and bison, don't you think? 100% somebody goes down there and draws something inappropriate on the wall. Lunatics.
Surtsey is off limits because researchers don't want anyone or anything external to interfere with the evolution process. Due to water and wind erosion, the island has been decreasing in size since then. Research by the Surtsey Research Society has estimated that according to the current rate of erosion, Surtsey could be at sea level by the year 2100.
Sorry, I couldn't focus on that one because the scary version of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies was in the background. Like, come on, why are you gonna pick Christmas music for a thing about Surtsey Island? We already looked at Surtsey Island too. I guess this is just a more in-depth look, a more moving picture look, as it is. It's interesting though. I think that's a fascinating place to visit, but we're not allowed to visit. But we'll leave it be. We'll let it develop on its own. If you love it, let it go. They grow up so fast. And that is all the time we have for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed these forbidden places and the people brave enough to go. I feel like a lot of forbidden places are a lot less mysterious now that we have helicopters and drones and other types of imaging technology. You know, like a satellite can show you pretty much anywhere on Earth. There's no longer a place that we have to leave strictly to the imagination, which it's both very cool and also, kind of sad. There's no magic left in the world. We've built ourselves out of magic. But hey, maybe we should visit some of these on foot someday and just see how forbidden they truly are.